Hello? Hello?
Sir, am I audible?
Hello?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Good afternoon,
Okay.
everybody. Is it
Good
audible?
afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, do you want me to turn on the cam or is it enough to present? What do you prefer?
Anything okay, sir?
Okay, fine then. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Good afternoon to one and all. I feel immense pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar organized by CSE Department on behalf of NDC. Today we have with us Mr. A- Akash Prasad, lecturer, Ministry of Education, Maldives. Today's session is about ideation for innovation. Students, let's use this session and gain much from him. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. And even I welcome all of you. Miss has already introduced me, so I don't think I need to say much more about me. Well, before starting or before getting to the topic, ideation for innovation, I would like to take you to back, to 80s and 90s. So, are you familiar with any of these products? I'll be showing you a few products. Just tell me whether you have seen it or you have used it or you have been through such products. First one is a compact, then Kodak Philips. And we know BlackBerry phones once ruled the world, and then Orkut. Well, have any one of you used or seen any of these products out of these four? Hello? Hello? Is it audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, it would be fine if you could respond. We can have a discussion. That would be better, right? So, have any of you seen these products? Any of these one? Or have you used any of these one? Well, I hope maybe you're too shy. Fine. But while I was a kid in the late 80s and the beginning of 90s, actually these products ruled the world. And it was kind of like a status symbol, we could say like that. Only the rich or all the richest had all these things. And when we are saying about the BlackBerry phones, even American President Obama had this phone with him. But what happened to these businesses now? Do you see any of these businesses nowadays, or is it still in the market? Any idea about that one? Anybody? Anyone out there? Hello? Is it audible? Hello? Hello? It would be fine if you could respond.
Sir, it's audible, sir.
I know it would be fine if you kids could respond, right? Then we can have a session like that. Or
Students, if you feel uncomfortable, just make a chat.
that's fine. Yeah, it would be well and good if the kids responds, right? Okay, fine. So let's move on to the topic. Maybe you are too shy to say. Fine. When I was a kid, maybe in the last of 80s or in the early and mid 90s. All these products were really famous and they were ruling the market. I still remember having a Kodak cam with this film rolls, and the thing was you couldn't edit or delete any of the taken pictures. We'll have to just be sure that the film roll is utilized well. But now it has paved way to digital cameras. And this compact was one of the IBM's favorite hardwares, but now we can't find any compacts anymore. It has paved way to Dell, HP, Acer, and even Mac. And to BlackBerry, we saw a news recently, right, that BlackBerry has even stopped all its updates. And then Orkut. I still remember while I was in school, I had an Orkut account and I used to go to internet cafes and browse this Orkut and make friends. But now it's all not there. And what has happened to these companies or these businesses? They are literally extinct. We can use the word extinct itself because we can't find them anywhere now. No traces of them. We just have to say we had a company like this way. The main problem, what happened or what I feel that has happened to these businesses is that they were too late in recognizing opportunities. The opportunities, the word we could include threats even. That is because they were too focused on sustaining their core businesses. In the beginning, maybe that business had a plan like we should focus on the growth or we should be attaining so much of growth by this year. And they were just focusing on that. They forgot about the world around them, the realities around them. And in simple words, we can say they forgot to innovate. And what happened to these brands is that the brands which refuse to constantly learn and improve will definitely fail. And all these brands are examples. When iPhone came up, most of the people said, no, that won't survive. And BlackBerry was the king of the market then. But this BlackBerry didn't recognize the market changing. And when the market changed, BlackBerry was out of the market. So brands which refuse to constantly learn and improve will definitely fail and they would become redundant one day. No doubt. It's undoubtedly proven now. And they would become non relevant in the industry. Like we had to say, there was a company like this. And this lesson which they learn, and if they're learning it faster, it is better. And if they're learning it too late, it would be really hard and too expensive. And some of the other similar examples we could say, like Yahoo. We all had a Yahoo and maybe even Hotmail accounts, right? But I don't know what happened. This Google is a tech giant. It had just grasped all of those things. Now, today we are here to discuss a few steps like what is innovation, and I'll be discussing with you a few ideas for innovation, and then we'll just conclude with all those things. First, all my kids should get to know what is innovation. Can anybody tell me the definition of what is innovation? Anyone out there? Yes, Shiva Suresh. Can you just attempt? Okay, then I'll go for it. So, we can define innovation as a process. It's a continuous process. It's not just one step, or it is not a process that is just consisting of a few steps. It's a continuing process. It's a process by which a domain, a product, or a service, it could be anything. It can be either a service industry or a production company or a trading company, whatever it is. So it could be a domain, a product, or a service which is renewed and brought up to date. That's the main thing. The world is changing, and businesses should make sure they are changing along with the world or one step ahead of the world. So, when any of these bring out a change which will make them up to date, and it is by applying new processes, introducing new techniques, or establishing successful ideas. It could be any way, maybe a new production process, or a new benchmark in the service industry, or maybe introducing new techniques to attract customers, whatever it is. So, by applying any of these new processes, introducing new techniques, or even establishing successful ideas to create new values. It is comprehensively called as innovation. And those businesses which we have seen in the beginning, we should say that they forgot or they didn't try to innovate. And that's why they just lost their position in the market. Then to say about our topic, ideas of innovation. When someone hears this topic for the first time, it's a beautiful phrase, ideas for innovation. It's a little confusing. Ideation. We have heard the word ideas, or even we know what are concepts. But what is this ideation? And how can it be related to innovation? Even when I shared this topic with few of my friends and I said that I got such an opportunity, even they had such a doubt. This phrase is beautiful, but how is it related? So let me begin with what is ideation and what is innovation and how is it related and how can we move further. Ideation involves the mental process of brainstorming concepts and theories. In simple words, we can say formulating ideas or bringing up with ideas. We know, right, when Isaac Newton was sitting under an apple tree, an apple fell on him and he got a thought, why did this apple come down? Why didn't it go up? That process, the process of brainstorming concepts and theories, that is ideation. And this innovation, as we mentioned earlier, it involves a process of turning those newly generated ideas into a manner. So innovation always requires ideas. So it's actually a mutual process. You need ideation to bring out ideas, and you need to apply it in your business, and that is innovation. That is ideation for innovation, your title. A brilliant one. Whoever has coined that phrase, that is a nice one. So if we are to say innovation, innovation involves the process of turning into those newly generated ideas. And it may be a manner of doing something or doing something which is almost familiar for all of us or something which is new, whatever it is. But if we are about to bring out a change in that, that is innovation. And we all are basically lazy, right? Human beings are supposed to be basically lazy. That's why we need a remote control for TV and we need all those Google assistants or Bluetooth services because we are basically lazy. And innovation is a thing, or innovation is a process which could make things faster, better, cheaper, and basically more convenient manner. Now I'm here with a few tips and tricks, and that's the basics of this webinar, right? I'll be giving you 8 tips and tricks, and you young entrepreneurs, you can just make use of those tricks and tips. So let's start. First one is static frustration. Do anyone have any idea of what this is? Static frustration? Anybody? Have you heard this term before? Static frustration. Okay, I'll tell you an example, and after that, I'll move to the topic. Usually, when we are moving from one place to another, and if we don't have our own transport, maybe a motorbike or a car or something, we'll be often depending on public transport. And some, maybe often or sometimes, we may not get a public transport like a bus or a train or metro, anything like that. So we'll depend on cabs. And have you ever been in a situation like you have been waiting for an hour or more and you didn't get a cab? Or have you ever been in a situation when it's maybe the temperature or the weather is extreme? It's a rainy day or it's a too hot day that you can't get access to a cab? Have you ever been in such a situation? Any one of you? Anybody? Oh, okay, fine. So even I have been in such a situation, to be frank, because many a times when I wait for cabs, and it's like that day. I'll be thinking, is it a cursed day or what? I've been waiting for the last 30 minutes and I couldn't find a cab even. So that kind of frustration is there within all of us. And if an entrepreneur is able to find out such kind of frustration within the existing businesses, and if he is able to crack that, he can succeed. And we all have Ubers and Olas, right? What are they doing? They just found out this one and they bought an opportunity with it. So this is tactic frustration. Within all the or most of the existing businesses, there is always a bit of stress on running that one. Customers, in the earlier days, what the marketing principle stated was find out the needs and wants of the customer and just bring out products or services accordingly. You'll get a good business. But if you're checking, almost all the needs and wants of a common man is being satisfied nowadays. So to bring out innovation in that, you should find out what is the missing element in that. Because we know everything or whatever in this world is incomplete. So if you could explore and find out the missing element in a particular thing, a particular business or service, and if you can crack that, you will be a successful entrepreneur. And if I am to say this example of Uber, what they did is they just found the opportunity. People had to wait for a cab, and if they find some opportunities, like if they find a cab on the way, they can just take a trip. Or people just have to call the booking center and wait for the cab to arrive to take a ride. And that was solved because Uber connected it to your Android app or I mean, your iPhone, your smartphone, and you have a cab on your fingertip. That's a big advancement, right? And we know Uber is a very big business now, and that too an Indian business. So about tactic frustration, if I'm to read it, this is the first hack. That is to look for unspoken, but significant frustration that is unconscious within us. That is actually before Uber, even we have just cursed the situation when we never got a taxi. But have you ever thought of such a thing? So that users are unaware of the frustration level and we just make us believe that it is unavoidable. And if an entrepreneur or if an innovator could crack that one, if they could find an opportunity in that one, they will rock. Second one is hidden capacity. Actually, the present psychologists they say all of us are born with minimum three talents. The persons who are able to identify their talents at the earliest would be the successful ones. That's a big thing. And the problem is, most of us just don't feel like we are talented. We only see the negative sides and we just make ourselves believe with the stories that "No, I'm not that good or he was lucky enough." We just almost have the same negative thoughts. But actually, all of us, all the human beings, are supposed to have minimum three talents. So, to bring out this hidden capacity of people around you, that's an opportunity. And that is the second innovation tip. That is, bring out the hidden capacity. We know, right? Uber is the biggest taxi service in India now, but it doesn't own a single taxi. But how do they manage? Anybody? Do you have an idea? How do they manage? Anyone? Uber is not having even one single taxi of their own, but they have the biggest taxi service in India. How is it possible? They just made people believe, okay, guy, listen here. After work in the evening, you're going home alone. So why don't you give a ride to someone and get some pocket money? It is that thought which made Uber a big success. Because we people, if we are getting a chance for a second income or more income, we'll be on to that. So Uber made people believe that, okay, you need not be a full-time taxi guy. Need not be a full-time taxi driver. What you can do is whenever you are free, maybe when you are getting back home or when you are moving on a trip to somewhere. You just turn this on and you can give a lift to someone and they will pay for you. At least your fuel expenses could be met, right? So that thought made Uber a massive success. So let's see what it is. The second hack is to look for some unused resource that again people are not aware. So this is a basic thing behind innovation. We are actually blindfolded to the world around us. And these innovators are the ones who has the potential or who has the ability to just find it out. So ideally, this should be a massive underutilized potential that could be applied to your customer need. And that's what we found how Uber became successful. The third one is make the impossible possible. This is actually a part of most of your good morning text, right? Many of you have seen this one. When we open WhatsApp in the morning, you will be getting a bunch of good morning thoughts. And most of it will be like this impossible is I am possible, or all those positive things. But when you consider, when you consider an entrepreneur or when you consider an innovator, it's not just like something which is only for a good morning text or a forward message. That is thinking beyond that. Have you heard of Oyo rooms? Have you heard of it? Oyo rooms. Still no reply. Okay, fine. This Oyo rooms, it was founded by a person. I would call him a person because he's a very, very, very young guy. He's called as Ritesh Agarwal, and he was just like 20 or 21, or maybe below that, when he started this Oyo setup in 2013. And now Oyo is a multinational business. It is having businesses across the world. And this guy, Mr. Ritesh, he was awarded as the world's youngest self-made billionaire in February 2020. World's youngest self-made billionaire. He didn't do anything much. He just made an app and he just brought out a big possibility. There may be people with guest houses or resorts, hotels, motels, whatever it is, and they were struggling to get customers. And even customers had all these problems. When we are in a strange place, we don't know where to go, how to find a place for accommodation, all those things. And what this guy did was, he was really brilliant. He just made these two people, this two group of people to come together and meet in this platform, Oyo. And that is Max's hustle. So when Oyo started in 2013, it was just a small setup. And now what is that? It is one of the multinational businesses and biggest in India. So make the impossible possible means that you need to add something that is unthinkable to the solution or to remove what is seemingly essential. This is a chance to rethink your assumptions, to look for blind spots in your business model. That is it regarding make it possible. Fourth one could be assist in the evolution of law. We all know, right? India is having the biggest constitution in the world, and we are having too many bunches of laws. And we know it is being changed or it is constantly changing. So, as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, you can do a thing. You can assist in the evolution of law. That's a basic thing, and that is something which you should keep in mind for your existence and survival. So that's a fourth hack. The fourth hack is to realize that the flow of innovation often requires the abrogation of rights by some class of user in favor of the commons. If I am to say an example, when this Uber came, we could see there were so many problems between the taxi drivers, the so-called the union people or whoever it is, who were these traditional taxi drivers. They had a great problem, or they had a great deal of problem with this Uber guys, and that became too sensational, and the government interfered. We cannot ever allow monopolies, and that's a big thing, a big evolution. And now still it's being continued. That evolution is has become a big storm, and in many industries that's coming up. So as an innovator, you should always assist in the evolution of law, and that's the fourth hack. So the fourth hack is to realize that the flow of innovation often requires the abrogation of rights by some class of user in favor of the commons. And that's a big thing, okay? Whatever you are making or whatever you're bringing out, make sure you do it in favor of the commons, not just a bunch of luxury upper class people. So the abrogation of rights is often a natural consequence of innovation. Thus, the hack is to see what monopolizing government regulation your innovation can impact and disrupt. Bring out changes. Bring out changes. Next one, now the fifth one. It's actually thinking out of the box way to thinking globally. All those first four things we said, it would be set up which is required maybe even for a small business within your city or within your village. But this thing, we are gonna think big. We are gonna think big. You know, right? This Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he started under a staircase. In the beginning, he was never born in a rich family, or he was never rich, but he just came up. How did that happen? He had bigger dreams. He had a dream of conquering the world, and he became the most richest person in the world once. So we are gonna think big now. That is the next one: decentralized versus centralized ecosystem. The basic or the core idea of this one is, what we probably tend to do is we just follow the path which was led by a few successful business person or entrepreneurs. And okay, within that frame, we may bring about changes, so called innovations, but we don't just risk to think beyond that. And whoever has been successful now, they have thought beyond that. If you're seeing Amazon, it is one global business now which ships items all across the world. And how did that become possible? That guy should have started a supermarket somewhere in America, right? So this is decentralized versus centralized ecosystem. This one is using blockchains that could impact the ecosystem and existing business models. We are going to break the existing patterns or existing business models, and we are just going to crack our new system. The full ecosystem is going to be changed. Let's see what it is. Now, most of the banks across the world uses SWIFT system to transfer funds globally. And there came a very new or advanced business concept called as Ripple. This Ripple technology, you can see the image there, that is a Ripple logo. So what they did was, this Ripple technology, they act as both a cryptocurrency and digital payment network for global financial transactions. And what they did was, they just avoided absolutely all the traditional systems, and they just brought out their own system to transfer funds. And the result was amazing. Now they are the pioneers in that market. And they are also having cryptocurrency services. So the name of the company and the network is Ripple, and XRP. You can see on the screen XRP on the corner of that coin. That is their cryptocurrency. So what happened? They avoided all the middlemen. They avoided all the intermediaries. We can call the process as a disintermediation, the act of removing the middleman. So what they did was, they just threw away all the existing business model, and they just, we can call it, they just built an empire for themselves, and they become unquestionable. That's a very successful Ripple model. And that's the fifth one. So another effective hack is to think about how the use of blockchains could impact the ecosystem and existing business models. Whereas the internet has been about disintermediation, that is, the act of removing middlemen. The blockchain is about the removal of centralized authorities that serve as a deeper form of middleman. So, what this Ripple money transfer allows is to create Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Sir, you are audible.
Hello?
Sir, you are audible.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I lost in between, right? Hello?
Sir, we are able to hear you.
Ah, okay, fine. Thank you. I think I lost in between. Can you see the presentation, ma'am?
Yes, yes. No,
Okay,
sir. Not now.
not visible, right? Maybe I think I lost my connection in between.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we were speaking about the Ripple money transfer. I hope. Did you hear that one, ma'am? Or should I have to say about that again? This point. Can you tell me where did I miss? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. So we were in the fifth one, decentralized versus centralized. Did you hear that, sir? Or did I miss that one? The fifth one? Okay, fine. So I hope you have understood the fifth one. Let's move to the next sixth one. Discontinuous vs. continuous change. While giving introduction itself, I have said that innovation is not just a single process; it's a continuous process, and we just need innovation not just to survive but to expand and think globally. So in the case of innovation, now we are going beyond Uber, Ola, Oya, and all. We are going to the global phase. So here, what you can do is the best level of innovation is just to bring out an algorithm, a quantum algorithm of yourself, and you could just change the world. Let's see what it is. So this hack is for navigating highly disruptive market phase transactions, such as the coming market shift due to quantum computing. The quantum computing can process things a million times faster than classical computers. And when you think of the possibilities of computer 100 million times faster than the current ones, it forces you to think differently about things. So if you are good at coding and if you are good at programming, you should think a little more bigger than the normal ordinary people think. And that's a possibility of quantum computing. And what the thing is that you can consider the possibilities of applications that would predict the weather accurately, very accurately, not like, yeah, there is possibility to rain or not to rain. Not that one. If you could predict things accurately, or if you can bring out a new drug that would be miraculous, life-saving one, or if you can bring out a problem for the ultimate problem we are facing now, global warming or the climatic changes. If you can think to that level, the extreme levels, you would be rocking. So that is discontinuous vs continuous change. So by focusing on making the impossible possible, you can begin to create a quantum algorithm that could change the world even. And we know right now people are thinking of exploring the space, and the Virgin Group and Tesla, they all are thinking of going to the space. That is, they are beyond the normal thoughts, and that's how people just become successful. So that's a sixth point. And seventh one, if we are speaking about quantum algorithm or quantum mechanics, we can't just go forward without thinking of Richard Feynman. Do anyone know who is this Richard Feynman? Anybody there? Yeah, he was a Nobel Prize winner, a physicist, and his thoughts were really great. And he is a creator or the inventor of quantum computing. So when we speak about him, we should take a few tips, or we should try to think like that. Here we have there is a creative process used by Da Vinci, Einstein, and Feynman. What they're saying is to solve a problem, you begin by learning how to restructure it in different ways. Now, what the limitation of all of us, including me, is that if we get a problem, we'll be having a first perspective and we will just stick on to that. We would never think of other possibilities or other ways or other dimensions of that problem. And that is a real problem. So, here, what they are saying, what these successful people are saying is that when we are looking at a problem, in the beginning, it would be too biased and we won't be getting any loopholes from that. But try to view it in a different dimension, try to view it in a different perspective. Then you will be getting different possibilities and probabilities for that. So, if you're reading that, Da Vinci believed that to solve a problem, you begin by learning how to restructure it in many different ways. He felt that the first way he looked at a problem was usually too biased. And but with each shift means each different dimensions at which he is looking the problem. His understanding would deepen and he would begin to understand the essence of the problem. So as an innovator, in order to bring out the other 6 points, what we said in the beginning, crack the frustration, crack what is not available, all those points, to bring out that one, we should try to think out of the box. We should try to bring out our perspective in different dimensions. Then you can see the world in a different manner. And the final one, or the eighth one, is something very, very, very familiar to all of us. We know Facebook is a successful business, YouTube is a successful business, TikTok is too successful. Actually, are the owners of all these companies creating contents for this one? Are they doing that? No. They are making people around them. They are offering some kind of incentive or a loyalty and making people to do or to create contents for them. And that's how all these social media platforms are working, right? I may be having a YouTube account, a YouTube channel, and with the price or with the incentive offered to me, I'll be thinking, and I'll be creating contents. And I'll be just getting a part of YouTube revenue. And who's getting the most? The YouTube company. So if you are becoming an entrepreneur, if you are having an innovative thought, you should always keep this in mind. Leverage the global brain. Let's see what it is. Growth hacking requires finding a distribution system to hack. For innovation, you need to find an ideation system to hack as well. And there is none better than the entire world. You know, right? It is said that while teaching a class of students, and suppose there are 50 students in a class, there are 50 opportunities. We teachers used to compare students with nuclear reactors. That is, each of their brain is so complicated, and if 50 of them start thinking in 50 different dimensions, we would be getting unlimited possibilities and opportunities. But the main problem is that we are just being, what to say, we are just being limited to our textbooks and the materials around us. We're not thinking beyond that. We are not at all utilizing our brain. Not just you, including me. I should say that. I should confess. So, leveraging the global brain means the best example I can say is all the social media around you: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snap, TikTok, whichever it is. The users are creating contents, and each of the user, when they are bringing out new contents, this business is growing up. And what the users or what the content creators are getting is a part of the revenue that is generated, a very minute. So let's see what it is. The key is to find a loyalty or incentive that will generate the excitement required to reach a large enough body of investors. And those innovators, they will assist you in the generation of ideas. All of us have seen the first video in YouTube, right? It was a zoo and animals were focused. That is simple. But now we can see, I think for most of the topics, maybe it's like for all of the topics under the sun or beyond that, we have videos on YouTube. And is that Google who is doing all these things? No, they're making people to do, and people are being paid. That's a good thing, not just for free. But with each of them dedicating a video, YouTube is growing, and that's a key. So the key is to find a loyalty or incentive that will generate the excitement required to reach a large enough body of innovators to assist you in generation of ideas. And this real key to hacking is access, incent, and activate other brains. So we can see not just Sundar Pichai or his team is thinking to build Google or build YouTube. Each of the content creators that are familiar to us, they are also contributing to that. And this brain cracking or brainstorming thing, that is a viral ideation. So here are the few gentle tips for you for your ideation for innovation. And I think I should just rewind it once for all of you. We started with tactic frustration. This is to find out what is missing element in the existing products or services around us. If you could find out what is missing, and if you could crack that one, you can be a successful, innovative entrepreneur. Second one we said is hidden capacity. Utilize the capacities around you. We are not at all using minimum 30% of the benefits that we get from the resources around us. So just find out that and bring out a way to bring out those hidden capacities. Third we said is make the impossible possible. This is actually a very, very common phrase. And if you succeed in making the impossible possible, or if you need to succeed to make the impossible possible, you should think beyond the box. Fourth one is assist in the evolution of law. We know that all the successful entrepreneurs, they have the support of the government or the legal things. And nothing illegal survives a lot. So you should be legal, but what you can do is you can bring out changes which is favoring you. That is assist in the evolution of law. Fifth one is decentralized versus centralized ecosystem. Don't limit your thoughts and don't limit your innovation to the existing ecosystems. Think beyond that. Go beyond that. You can rock. And here we have the beautiful example of Ripple. And they had just brought a big change in the fund transfer, global fund transfer. Earlier it took days, it took a comprehensive system which was too expensive. But now they have limited it to few cents, and maybe within seconds we can do global transfer. Sixth one is discontinuous vs continuous change. This is ultimately thinking out of the box, and this is much, much beyond your small circle within your geographical city, village, state, or even your country. This is a global thing. If you think beyond your limits, if you think globally, you can bring out big changes. And a dedication to Fine Man, because he has brought out so much change and his innovations, his ideas are still being valued. And as a physicist, he was awarded a Nobel Prize and he's worth that one. What he's saying is, you may be having problems in life. Try to see those problems in different dimensions and you could crack that easily. And the last one is utilize or make use of the global brains. People around you are ready to work for you. People around you are ready to bring out ideas for you. What you need is just give them an opportunity, give them a possibility to bring out with that, and you can succeed. So that was the 8 key points which I have to share with you in case of innovation. And let's conclude this one. To conclude, remember that the process of innovative thinking is to unchain the brain. That is, you should not limit yourself. It does not mean which comes to up not only with the astonishingly high number of great ideas. I had a friend, I do remember, he comes up with an idea every day. It should be a nice idea, maybe like, why don't we do a business like this way? Or why don't we just start a small business there? He would be coming up with ideas every day, but he was not at all confident enough to make it true. And whenever we ask, he will say the phrase, chasing the dreams, still chasing the dreams. So, as an entrepreneur, what I'm suggesting to you, or what I'm recommending you, is that you should remember it is not just coming up with ideas, you should be really brilliant to break through ideas as well. You should do that. Only then you will be successful. So, on hearing this, I'm having a very simple question to all of you. Can anyone suggest one simple idea? No need to be that much innovative. One simple idea or a simple business plan that you can come up with. Any one of you? A potential possible next generation business. Can you come up? Anyone? If you are shy to speak, you can even post in the comment box. Anybody? Okay, then I think I should give you a few guidelines. I've been thinking of a few ideas because uh, being an employee, let me give you a personal advice. Being an employee is not that a big thing, okay? If you wish to be a really successful human being, you should become an entrepreneur. That's the first advice I should give you. Because being an employee means we will be guided, our life would be designed by someone else who pays. So all of you should become entrepreneurs. May not be possible all of a sudden, but that should be your ultimate aim. And a few probable businesses that would be flourishing in the coming years. What I feel so is first one, the world is becoming global and that transition is happening really faster. So if you have access or if you have knowledge or if you are multilinguistic, if you have knowledge on different languages, that would be a great benefit. And as the world is becoming to a single global world, like we call as a global village, it is beneficial if people learn more languages and people have started reflecting on that. If you could provide a platform based on that one, multilingual platform, either to coach people or either to assist people in some ways so that they can use that different languages without learning. I'm not saying about the Google Translate or the devices available. Beyond that, if you could come up with something, this language would be a great opportunity. Then another one, what we can say is about this pets. Recently, I read an article, and it's like most of the couple in the developing countries they prefer childless marriage because they seem like they need to live their life, maybe career oriented or whatever it is. So the number of couple with childless marriage is growing up, and there is a common trend that all these people, even single guys or single ladies, they prefer to have a pet. So if you could launch something for the pets, that would just be a very successful business. I'm not just saying to start a pet store or the equipment selling pets. It is, I'm giving you the tip that could be a beautiful sector. And if you could launch something in a global level relating to that, that is a wide market. You have a great potential market there. And why I said all this is last day I saw a website, lefties.com. And their motto or their caption was really catchy. The world is right, and we are just going something which is not right. We know by default, a majority of us are right handers. And what this website works for is absolutely for the left handers. They're having musical instruments, they're having other accessories, which is exclusively designed for left handers. And that thought, that was really interesting. And I just felt like, why didn't I even think of such a possibility? Lefties.com. Even you can browse and check later when you're free. So bring out ideas, think beyond the box, and I wish all of you to become successful entrepreneurs in future. That's all from my part. Any queries? Hello? Any queries from anyone?
No, sir, fine. Thank you.
Okay then. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to
Thank you,
you, sir.
sir.
Okay, fine. If you're having any doubts, I'll post my email with your teacher, and you can just contact me anytime.
Yeah, okay, sir. It would be useful.
Fine, thank you. And it would be helpful if you could give me the feedback of the session.
Sure.
Okay, fine then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much.